It's time for Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris. Here's your host, Greg Bicouvaris.
And welcome back to Sports Scene. Glad you're with us right here. Of course, we've had this gentleman on for several years. Known him since he was broadcasting Navy basketball when I was at George Mason. Let's welcome Dave Johnson, the voice of the Wizards. Dave, how are you, my friend?
Doing well. We're off and running in an NBA season, and that means it's always a wild journey.
I got to ask you real quick, obviously you're a soccer fan too. The World Cup's going to be starting here soon. I know you'll have your eye peeled on that a little bit, although you're knee deep with the Wizards now, considering that you also are involved with soccer broadcasting as well.
Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting. It always is exciting. It's the most unique event. It's the most popular event by numbers. It outdoes the Olympics, et cetera. But it really is an event where you've got 3 games to get out of the group stage, and that's what makes it so dramatic. If one slip and the next thing you know, your promising 4-year campaign is not going where it's going. But this is a young team. We've got the World Cup coming to the United States in 2026. So maybe we make some noise now, but trust me, in another 4 years or something, this team is going to be really competitive.
Absolutely, but it's a lot going on. You got college football, you got NFL, you got NBA, NHL, you just finished the World Series and now the World Cup. So that's a lot going on. So we wish the Americans all the best, of course, as they play. And, of course, they're playing during football season, but it is what it is. All right, let's talk about the Wizards, who are 5-6. You've got the Mavericks coming up, then you got the Jazz and the Grizzlies. Give us a report card after 11 games.
It's early, and what I mean is it's a team that has some new players. They're still trying to develop, I think, a chemistry on defense. And if they can get the defensive consistency right, this team can compete seriously in the Eastern Conference. So that is going to be the key. They've shown flashes of that, including the last couple of games where you hold them up as Grizzlies while losing to 103 points, and same thing with Charlotte. So it's not about whether this team can score. It can. It's about defensive chemistry, and that really is what they're trying to develop, and they need to because you don't want to be in a situation with as competitive as the Eastern Conference is to be trying to catch up ground later in the season. These games in November and December are important.
Absolutely. I really like the chemistry of Beal, Porzingis, Kuzma, and Hachimura. They seem like they work really well together. No big ego there either.
Well, there's really nothing. The one thing this team has, it's a group and it's important, that does like to play each other. Seems to there's a good vibe, and I know people listening will say, well, wait a minute, they all paid well, shouldn't they like playing? But it's not unlike any other office. You can like your specific job, but if the chemistry is just not right in the office, it's not as enjoyable, and it might not be as productive. It's the same thing with any sports team. When you say, wow, that team looks good on paper, but it didn't really meet expectations. Well, it's because for whatever reason it wasn't the right fit of players. This seems to be the right fit of players, including new players like Monte Morris and Will Barton, who came over from Denver, and they just they're all. It's a team that's all about bottom line results, about my numbers, and that includes Bradley Beal, who can, if he wants to, average 30 points a game and has in this league, but that's not what he is about. And he is continuing to show why he's a great leader for this team. And again, they'd like to have a better record than they have after 11 games, but this team has every belief that it can figure it out and be much better. Certainly when they reach the All-Star break, I think they'll be in a very good position.
Yeah, other than Milwaukee and Cleveland, and Boston, of course, and the Hawks, it's pretty well packed, but it's still way too early to make any predictions. Just one game at a time, developing chemistry like we talked about. Beal has been there forever. I guess the biggest thing is I'm just impressed how he's been there. He's had injuries. People have been traded. How many trades have you guys have since you've been doing the broadcasting? And, of course, just the last several years, players come and go. It's not like Cal Ripken, you stay with one team forever, but that's just the nature of the beast of the NBA, correct, Dave?
Well, correct, but every sport. I mean, Cal Ripken is you look at how many baseball teams various players are on, or you could name the team. So name the sport rather. So the player that actually spends his whole career with one team is rare. And right now, Bradley Beal's on course for doing that because he wants to stay here and he wants to win here. And it's something that should be applauded because in a day where, again, this is not an NBA thing, it's a sport thing where you can either be involved in a trade or decide, well, I want to go play with that team because I think that'll be a championship team. He's decided, no, this is the team I want to stay with, and I want to be part of the solution to become a championship team, and that'll make the experience even that much more sweeter.
Dave, give us your Twitter handles and tell us, I know what you do personally, but a lot of the fans, just tell them that over the years, you've been a studio host, you've done play-by-play, you've done pretty much everything. Give us your Twitter handles and tell us everything on your plate right now, including over the years you've worked at WTOP.
Yeah, at JJ Sports, if you want to connect, and you can, and we do connect with people during the radio broadcast. And it's pretty easy to find the radio broadcast even without radio now. We're available on the Wizards app, the NBA app, Sirius XM, and other places. So that's the app and digital listing has become such a big thing. And if you tweet us during the broadcast, we connect back, and we like to make it an interactive experience. But yeah, I still continue to do the morning sports at WTOP, and I've been the play-by-play voice for DC United for a lot of years. So I'm very blessed to do what I do.
Very good, Dave. All the best. Good luck to the Wizards. We'll be in touch, and continued health and happiness to you and your family.
Yes, and I hope folks get up and see us at Capital One Arena. This is a fun team.
Absolutely. Dave, all the best.
Take care.
Sports Scene will continue after these messages.
Mi Hogar is your restaurant for the finest Mexican cuisine in Hampton Roads. At Mi Hogar, everything is prepared fresh in a casual and comfortable atmosphere. Enjoy traditional favorites such as quesadillas, tacos, burritos, and fajitas, as well as refreshing beverages. Mi Hogar is located at 4201 Granby Street and is a tradition in Norfolk. Call 640-7705 and log on to MiHogarMexicanRestaurant.com. At Mi Hogar, there's something for everyone.
Sakura Japanese Restaurant in Chesapeake is your destination for excellent Japanese food, featuring fresh sushi and hot dishes prepared in the kitchen for lunch and dinner. Sakura is located at 1437 Sands Drive at the Walmart Way Crossing. Oh Yummy Sushi is at the Renaissance Place at 401 North Great Neck Road in Virginia Beach. Both Sakura in Chesapeake and Oh Yummy Sushi in Virginia Beach are available with DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, and Pickup. Tasty Japanese food, the way you want it, is at Sakura and Oh Yummy Sushi.
All right, welcome back to Sports Scene. Always a pleasure to interview good friend Justin Lee from WNIS, host of Sports Insight 790. Used to host the show on WTAR. We've had him on Sports Highlights. We've had him on Sports Scene, and we continue to have him on Sports Scene. Justin, how are you, my friend?
Greg, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. We had you over on Sports Insight 790 last week, so it's a pleasure to jump on with you this week.
Absolutely. And, of course, what a great time of the year November is. You've got football, college and NFL. You got the NBA, college basketball starting up. You got the World Cup, a lot going on, and, just there's something for everyone.
We made a smooth transition from the World Series where the Houston Astros beat the Phillies, and then all of a sudden college basketball is in tandem with the college footballs of the world. Alabama and Clemson fall out of the top six for the first time in a long time. And then obviously the NFL Week 9 is in full swing. The Commanders, it'll be exciting to kind of watch them move forward. I was disappointed with that loss to the Vikings, but I saw some good things out of Heineke. Dan Snyder is in the process of selling the team, so not a lot of bright spots there, but there's something to hold on to there for the Commanders.
Absolutely, but you got to close the deal. You looked at Alabama, losing, they have to close the deal in the fourth quarter, just like the Commanders. Heineke's been getting ripped up in the D.C. area. He was beloved here playing for Old Dominion, but the NFL is a totally different beast. They don't care where you played in college. All they remember about anything is the one-loss record, which leads me to the Colts, who just fired their coach.
Yes, and it's interesting, too. I heard Frank Reich won't be on the sidelines for long. The word in the NFL is he's a well-respected coach. Just got dealt some tough cards. The combination of losing Andrew Luck and then Carson Wentz followed up by Jonathan Taylor not having the most sublime year this year. He's been kind of dealt a tough hand, and it kind of trickles down from the owner but that's for another day.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk about that, but we'll see what happens there. But the odd thing was they hired Saturday, who worked for ESPN, who played for the Colts, and they had assistants that were former head coaches on their staff. Now, they weren't offensive-minded guys. Irsay is a big quarterback lover, going back to his days when his dad had Burt Jones play for the Baltimore Colts. He's been with them that long, same color uniforms, same everything, but the Colts are stagnant right now, and they were beating Washington, and ever since that game, they've gone south.
Yes, and it'll be interesting to see exactly why they hired Jeff Saturday. My assumption is it was just a Band-Aid on the situation, right? We get rid of our head coach in the middle of the season. We got to turn around and hire an interim coach. Hey, Jeff Saturday played for us. He's in the Ring of Honor. He could be a good hire until we can figure out maybe Sean Payton throws his hat in the ring. Maybe Harbaugh throws his hat in the ring. You just don't know, but I don't think Jeff Saturday is a permanent solution. It was just one to kind of put a Band-Aid over the situation, a PR move, if you will. You don't expect anything out of the Colts this year anyways.
Well, here's the crazy thing is that Jeff Saturday accepted it. I mean, he hasn't been in the locker room. He hasn't been in preseason. He hasn't been in training camp. He doesn't know these players that well, like the assistant coaches like Reggie Wayne, who's on the staff as well. It's kind of like, walking into a wedding. You don't know anybody and say, look, here I am. It's my show now. That's the weird thing. Now, granted, it's only 8 games, but still, you don't start a brand new job going from kindergarten teacher to a college professor who's tenured in your college. The whole dynamic of it, let's just grab him because I'm good friends with him, the owner speaking, supersedes all the qualified assistants.
Well, right. Just because I was a student at Norfolk State University doesn't mean I can just turn around and become a professor, at Norfolk State University, regardless of my GPA. You're right. There's certain steps that need to be taken in order to jump in and be able to even hold an interim head coach job, which further leads and points towards this is just a Band-Aid patch-up job until they can figure out who they want to put in place for Frank Reich.
Right. Definitely not a permanent position. Unless he goes 8-0, then that's a totally different narrative altogether. All right, how about the two?
Well, you know what? Well, pretty much what I've seen out of the Colts, I don't see them even going 4-4. I mean, so it'll be interesting to see what they do under the helm of Jeff Saturday. I don't have too much optimism for them.
No, I agree. I don't think they're going to go 500. So I totally agree with you. Let's talk about the two teams you guys carry on your radio station, Virginia and Virginia Tech. Both have losing records.
Yes, and there isn't really much to talk about there. I'll be honest with you. Coach Pry coming in, Elliott with UVA, Pry with Virginia Tech. They are not the teams to be talking about right now, nor is ODU, nor is Norfolk State. Believe it or not, the school in Virginia that should be getting the attention right now, can you guess who it is, Greg?
Yes, it's William and Mary.
It's Liberty. It's Liberty. Have you seen yet? And no one even knows about how well they're playing.
But William Mary's had a very good year under former Virginia coach Mike London. He coached Richmond as well. Liberty, of course, their quarterback is playing for Tennessee, too. So absolutely, I have a lot of respect for Liberty and what they've done and what they are continuing to do as well. Let's go over the top 4 real quick, Jay Lee. Number 1 is Georgia. Number 2 is Ohio State. Number 3 is Michigan. Number 4 is TCU. It's rare that Alabama and Clemson are not in it, but they both got losses.
Now, what have you seen out of Alabama this year that consistently shows you that they didn't even deserve to be in the top 6? I don't really see much there. Week after week, they might eke by, a couple close ones on the road. They lose to Tennessee. They aren't blowing teams out by 40 points anymore. And with everything that was going on in the beginning of the season, NIL points to a lot of that, does it not?
Absolutely. The whole portal, I'm not a big fan of either one. It's worked for some teams. Jay Lee has not worked always, though, for the portal or the transfer or the NIL.
Now, Greg, do you like the cookie-cutter seasons? Do you like it when Alabama and Georgia are guaranteed to be in the top 4? Or do you like it, like this wrench thrown in there to where each week you don't really even know if Alabama's going to win, let alone cover the spread?
I'll like it when there's more than 4 teams in it, because right now that's half the narrative regardless. There's a lot of teams that probably could beat some of those teams, but I'm with you. I like it when they grind it and they earn it on the field, all 12 regular season games. But we have to remember, this is not the NFL. It's college football, and they are student athletes, right, Jay Lee? Wink, wink.
That's right. Well, furthermore, they are entering an amateur status. You have all these NIL deals, and some of them aren't living up to what their potential on the field according to maybe what they're getting paid. And furthermore, their team's record might also not reflect that either. So everything that's happening with the portal, NIL, even furthermore, the player empowerment trickling down from the pros to the college level, it is all going to, things are going to change swiftly over probably the next few years as far as the dominant teams in college football. Alabama, obviously, they're always going to be there as long as Saban is there, but hell, Saban's kind of aging out as well. NIL and the portal is transferring in. It'll be interesting to see, Greg.
And LSU is playing very good under Coach Kelly. Jay Lee, all the best to you and WNIS. Keep up the good work. We look forward to hearing your show.
I look forward to having you again over there, Greg. It's always good catching up with you and brushing shoulders with you. We'll do it again soon.
Very good. Justin Lee right there from Sports Insight 790 doing a great job on WNIS. Stay tuned. Buffalo Wild Wings Grill and Bar right there at 4918 Courthouse Street. Give them a call at 229-6099. Lunch, dinner, late night, delicious food, nice staff, wings, appetizers, beverages, all the games on TV, open 7 days a week. Like Buffalo Wild Wings on Facebook. Enjoy a great meal and have a good time at Buffalo Wild Wings in Williamsburg. Excellent food, entrees, appetizers, desserts, something for everyone at their Williamsburg location. BJ's Restaurant Brewhouse, home of the Pizookie, Tech Center Newport News, lunch and dinner, huge menu, salads, appetizers, burgers, entrees, desserts, open daily for lunch and dinner, late night dining, great place to unwind, eat, relax, and watch sports on TV. BJ's Restaurant Brewhouse in Newport News. BJ's Brewhouse, happy holidays. Get a $50 gift card and also get a $10 bonus card. For a $100 gift card, a $25 bonus card, 20% off VIP card, 2 holiday pint glasses. You can't beat that. Also, holiday glasses are also available for purchase, $7.75 for a set of 2 or $4.50 each. Enjoy from BJ's Brewhouse in Newport News. And welcome back to Sports Scene. Always a pleasure to talk to Anthony Checchio from 757 Sports Collectibles in Virginia Beach. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Greg. Nice talking to you.
Very
Thanks
good.
for having me again.
Always a pleasure. And you've been there for several years. Tell us about the whole concept of it. You've got something pretty much for everyone. How long have you been there now?
We're in our 8th year now. We've been in the retail location for 7 years. We started as a mall kiosk, but we had a really good holiday season that first year, so we were able to move over into the store, and ever since then, we love it. It's been great, and we just wanted to kind of bring more of a Northeast feel collectible store to the beach, because I felt like we didn't have anything here growing up here as a kid, but once we brought it in, it seems like it's, really been good for the local community.
Absolutely. You're located at 2686 Virginia Beach Boulevard. Very close, accessible right there off of Lynn Haven, but very convenient. Phone number is 340-4016. You now have to give the area code 757 when you dial, of course. And tell us about your store hours before we dive into the good stuff.
So they do kind of change during the holiday season, but if you look on Google, just Google 757 Sports Collectibles, and you'll be able to see the exact hours for that day. But typically during the holidays, it's 10 to 6. And the 2 weeks before Christmas, we're open all those days because typically we're closed on Sundays. But during the holidays, everybody wants to get their gift for their favorite sports fan, so we stay open as much as possible.
Absolutely. All right, what are you making right now? Something you and I have talked a lot off the air about all these alternate uniforms in the NFL. Washington's worn their black uniforms. They've never done that before. No, you expect the Raiders and the Bears to have the different uniforms. A lot of the NBA teams are wearing alternate uniforms. I'm a purist. I like the classic Celtics look, the white and the green. I like the classic Sixers look back when Dr. J was playing, but I'm a purist. Not everybody's a purist. And of course, that's the good thing too, because you got to appeal to a lot of different tastes. And I guess you found that out a lot owning this type of store that you do.
Right, yeah. And the funny thing is, so I like the old school stuff, more the 90s than anything, but I'm not necessarily a purist. I do like, Oregon Ducks are one of my favorite teams just because of the crazy uniform changes. But with the NFL, I have to admit, there's been a few things that changed that were kind of weird to my eye, like when they went to the single digit for the linemen. Like, that's just been throwing me off for a couple of years now. And then you're right, the black Commanders jersey, I would just say I like the jersey. I don't necessarily like the entire setup with the helmet and the pants especially. They need a stripe or something on there. Just the plain black pants, it doesn't look right to me. And then obviously for Washington, you're just used to burgundy and gold. So I would say as far as merchandise sales, though, some teams where it's just people love it. For example, the Jets black look with the chrome green, that's been super popular. The Texans red helmet was really popular in the collectibles. The Saints kind of went to a little bit of a Seahawks look with the black helmet. So there's just it just depends by team. I think it's team by team, and then I think it is a little bit tradition of the team. You know, if you've seen the Packers wear the same jersey since they, were into the league, and then they go to some crazy stuff, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they wear the throwback sometimes. Talking to Anthony Checchio from 757 Sports Collectibles, Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us with our producer Ken Carson here, all powered by Audacy, talking to our good friend Anthony. And, of course, you don't see the Colts or the Chiefs changing their uniforms that much.
No, I feel like, did the Chiefs do something with the black jersey? I can't remember. But they really haven't changed much. There's certain teams, like you said, that have kind of kept it the same, or if they changed it and the fan base really didn't like it, then typically you're not going to see it again, it seems like.
Well, let's talk about your store. What do you have inside your store? Talk about all the different product and merchandise you have, because it's a big time of the year with the holidays.
So we definitely go for the biggest mix that you can think of as far as for the customers of the 757 and beyond. We've got a little bit of trading cards, we've got some autographs, we've got unsigned collectibles, apparel, novelties, gift items. We've got furniture now. I mean, we're this year, I'd say we're the best stocked we've ever been with just variety. And we do have a 1 million product catalog that we can special order out of. And then on our website, 757sc.com, we've got 150,000 products that are shipped direct to consumer. So, I mean, if you need something sports-related, we can take care of you. As long as it's officially licensed, we can get it for you.
We'll talk about the different sports. Obviously, NFL, NBA, college, anything else. I know you're a big tennis fan personally.
I am a big tennis fan, not a big seller as far as memorabilia or collectibles, but and really just not even close to the popularity of the Big Four. But here locally, I mean, this year's actually setting up to be a very popular year for this area because the NFC East is just, so good. The only down team is really the Steelers that's popular in this market. But, they've had so much success that I think Steelers fans are always going to want items. Unfortunately, you got to rebuild every once in a while. So just kind of a tough year, but we do expect to see every team out, which we do carry all 32 NFL teams. And then by the other leagues, we kind of carry who's popular in the market. So Yankees, Red Sox, Mets, Braves have been super popular, Nats. And then if you need another team, like I said, we can special order anything. A lot of the items we get free 2-day shipping on if you want to come into the store and order it. So
yeah,
we definitely got you covered.
Great story. Leave us with all your social media, please.
Facebook, we are 757 Sports Collectibles, and then that's also on Instagram. And then Twitter is 757SC. So that's our 3 major social media.
Very good, Anthony. All the best to you and your family. Have a great holiday season, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. Always great to talk to you. We'll see you later.
Very good. My pleasure. Anthony right there from 757 Sports Collectibles. Stay tuned. Oh Yummy Sushi Japanese Restaurant in Kemps River is open and ready to serve you, featuring an all-you-can-eat experience with signature dishes from the kitchen and fresh sushi prepared for you. Oh Yummy Sushi is open for lunch and dinner daily with dine-in, carry-out, as well as DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub. Located at 1255 Fordham Drive at the Kemps River Crossing. Call 937-2011 for Oh Yummy Sushi, the best sushi in Hampton Roads. And welcome back to Sports Scene. Always a pleasure to talk to George McClain from the Marksman and Newport News. George, how are you?
I'm doing well, Greg. How about yourself?
Very good. We're knee-deep into November right now, so what's going on as far as what people will see when they walk in?
Well, kind of more of the same. We just got another load of firearms in, so the counter has been pretty fully stocked. So it's and still have firearms that you can order if we don't have the particular brand that you want in there. But business has started to pick back up. So we're supply is not back to 100%, but it's a whole lot better than what it has been just a couple of months ago. Google
the Marksman. They're located at 520 Industrial Park Drive in Newport News. Of course, the phone number is 757-872-4130. How about holiday hours for November and December?
Well, right now they're going to stay the same, although for Thanksgiving, obviously the day before that, we typically close at 4 p.m. And then being closed on Thanksgiving Day, we haven't made a decision whether we're going to reopen on Friday or Saturday. That's going to be kind of a last-minute call. So you can kind of check our Facebook page on that. We'll have that posted once we make the decision on it.
George McClain from the Marksman Firearms Training Center and Indoor Shooting Range as well. Like them on Facebook. They also have a nice Instagram page as well. So, George, now it's getting dark earlier. People have to be more safe conscious when they're at home and also on the road when they're out shopping, to have your keys in your hand, not to be careless with all these bags in your hand. November and December are notorious for that. But regardless, when it gets dark at 5 o'clock, you have to be more careful.
Well, that's very true. I use the word cognizant a lot of your surroundings. Be aware. Don't be a ditz and just bebop out there in a dark parking lot when you didn't park under a light to start with, and so you're in the darkest section. You need to be aware of what's going on, be aware of your own actions, and be proactive in defensive preparations. Now, notice I didn't say defensive actions. You want to be prepared to defend yourself if needed. The action comes when you actually need to do it, and now you're called into action to actually defend yourself. But you're exactly right. We need to change our attitudes and focus on safety and play the what if game. Well, what if I'm going to my car and somebody jumps out from a vehicle right before I get to mine? What are you going to do? So think about some non-lethal defensive things like pepper spray, a loud air horn kind of a deal that I've had some that will actually pierce the dark sky and your ears right along with it. So anything like that can help. And just always then keep in mind that lethal force is always a last resort.
Absolutely, and you always have to have that in your back pocket as your last resort as well. You got to be cognizant, though, of your surroundings, like George said, talking to George McClain. Talk about something you guys posted on your Facebook page last month about Ruger Day. Talk about that.
Well, it was, Ruger sponsors it, so we have it's to promote them, obviously. But we had a great day, a good turnout. We had your Ruger hats and display of their firearms and all of that. But it just calls attention. Try to get some focus back in. Getting people come back in. There's still, I think, COVID's got folks scared away still, but everyone is recovering. The CDC has changed their recommendations or precautions. So, but you still feel free to wear masks and all that. You make yourself feel comfortable when you come in. But that was kind of one of the first let's get back to normal kind of gatherings that we've had. But Ruger's been a good company. They make a good firearm, and so we have plenty on display.
You mentioned from the outset you're pretty well stocked. How about ammo and how about the range? For a lot of locals and tourists in town this time of the year, they're looking to maybe get some range shooting. How do they go about doing that?
Yeah, well, just come in. You can call and make an appointment. Still, we let you do that, but it's no longer required. So you can just come in, take a look around, especially if you haven't been there, and decide whether that's what you want to do or not that particular day. If you just want to come in and check us out and then come back at a later time to do the range. But if you're ready to shoot, we ask you that you have your firearms not in your hands, that you have them encased or on your person. So if you're going to be shooting your carry firearm, keep it in its holster until you actually get on the range. We don't need people handling firearms in the lobby. That's uncalled for. And so again, safety being our top priority of yourself and our other customers. But just come in and let them know, hey, can we get a lane, whether it's you or there's a couple of you or three of you or four of you, we'll get you signed up. You have to sign a liability waiver unless you're a member, and that's not to say members don't have to sign liability waivers, but they do one that covers their membership for the duration of the membership. So if you're not a member, you have to fill out a liability waiver every time you come in.
Phone number is 757-872-4130. That's great information from George McClain, the owner of the Marksman as well. And, of course, you mentioned the different types of stuff that you have stocked. How about ammunition? How is that? And also, what are the other people, some of your gun peers around the country, what are they saying?
Well, I mean, everyone's kind of, the 380 and 22 is kind of still hit and miss. We get it in regularly, but not in the quantities that we would normally like to see. 9mm 45 and 38 usually stays in pretty good supply. Keep in mind that the big difference between what we call the range ammo or ball ammo, you hear us say, versus hollow point or self defense ammo, is that the range ammo is probably half the cost of the hollow point. So you don't want to. You can shoot hollow point ammo on the range. There's no restriction on that. It's just expensive. So most folks want to offer the ball ammo, and that's typically what we stock more of, and that's also what we run out of more quickly, just simply because it's a less expensive ammo choice. But that's not the kind of ammo that you want to carry in your firearm for defensive purposes. You want the hollow point ammo in your firearm to use for self-defense.
Talking to George McClain from the Marksman, absolutely, that's a great point. You always have to have self-defense, and you always have to see what you're doing, see where you're going, and always just be totally prepared. I think that's the biggest thing, George, just being prepared. What are your thoughts over the years, even before you owned the Marksman, about gun shows, and have you guys participated in them?
Well, we haven't. It gets to be too much of a, I don't know. You're just on top of everyone. Every vendor is on top of the other vendor, and you're if they want to get real competitive, there's no way really to make much of a profit. And to me, other than advertising, getting your name out, that's what you're doing. And you can sell the firearms, but no one's really making anything from it. But the fact that we're local, to where a lot of the vendors that come to our local gun shows that we have in Hampton and even at the Norfolk over the Scope, they're from out of town, and so it's kind of like we're going to come and get our name out, and in this particular area kind of a deal. So I would rather spend our advertising money, what little bit we've been able to do here in the last year or so with guys like yourself, to where we can keep in touch with our local customer base, and so we don't have an interest in going out of town and getting into that show circuit, but there's deals are to be had there. There's no question about it. It's just a lot to go through for no more than what you wind up taking back out of it.
Yeah, it's matched energy, matched effort. I totally agree, George, because a lot of times these vendors are here and they're gone tomorrow. And if you got a question or problem, it's very difficult to get a hold of them.
Absolutely. So that's customer service is second on our list. As far as our priorities, safety is always going to be at the top. But every employee meeting that we've had, I start with the three main important parts of that, and that's number one is customer service, number two is customer service, and number three is customer service. If you can't give good service to your customer, you don't need to be in business.
Absolutely. You can only do but so much online. It still comes down to face-to-face and in person. George, all the best. We look forward to talking to you early next month, and all the best to the staff and the employees there at the Marksman and Newport News. Google them, folks. Like them on Facebook and Instagram. Give them a call, 757-872-4130. George, thank you.
All right, thanks, Ray. Take care.
I want to thank our guest today on the November edition of the Sports Scene podcast, Dave Johnson, the voice of the Wizards, Justin Lee from WNIS, also Anthony Checchio from 757 Sports Collectibles, and George McClain. For our producer, Ken Carson, don't forget, at Greg Bick on Twitter, at Greg Bick on YouTube. That's GregBick. BIC. You can add me on Facebook at Greg Bicouvaris. For Ken Carson, I'm Greg Bicouvaris. Thanks for listening to Sports Scene, and we'll talk to you soon.
You've been listening to Sports Scene with Greg Bicouvaris.